Welcome to episode 53 of Wayne's World and Kelly. Holy smokes. It is good to see everybody this morning. We have, of course, Wayne, the star of the show, and we have Jaermal Walls, who is one of the, I think you're the largest guest we've ever had on the show. I don't know, but you're definitely got the largest personality. You've got the biggest resume. And you just got an incredible life. And every time I see you're smiling, I saw you last Saturday when I was parading around in my Superman costume because our mutual friend Michelle made me do it. There's nothing that woman won't ask me to do, and there's nothing I would say no to. So, but hey, welcome to the show, and Wayne, take it away.
I just like to say that looking at Jaermal's LinkedIn resume, I don't even know where to start. Maybe we can go back to your days at Liberty just as a starting point.
Right. So Liberty University, that's where I currently attend. So I'm in their PhD program for criminal justice leadership. So I'm actually at the dissertation phase. I enrolled in the program back in 2020. I finished off my core curriculum, so now we're in the dissertation phase. So getting ready to finish up for next spring.
Let's be real clear. So it's funny how you went far back. You're from Miami. You went to school in Miami. Then you went to Bethune-Cookman, which is in Daytona Beach, Florida, which is where I used to reside. And in your free time, you have acquired several degrees, several sons, a wonderful spouse, and you also play arena football while running a business of mediation. And there's more and more and more. It's exhausting just to see what you go through. It's absolutely amazing. But before we go any farther, I also want to mention that when I saw you last Saturday with many of your sons, they're the most polite, well-behaved young men. And it's just, it gives me faith because sometimes you see these kids and you go, wow, I don't know what's happening. But and I've been around them a few times now. You're doing an amazing job as a father. So of all the things that you're going on in your life, I want to celebrate your ability to be a very active father and producing some great kids. I wish you would have been around my daughter growing up because she had me. So, and my daughter's a graduate of Liberty University, so you two will have that in common when you finish your dissertation, which is pretty exciting.
So yeah, my sons were actually born well. I had my oldest probably 2 years after I graduated from high school. But the twins, they were definitely born during my time at Bethune-Cookman University, and they actually got to grow up in Daytona Beach the first 3 years of their life. So they were on campus. I went to class with the football practice, was in the neighborhood, doing events, going to church, whatever it was. They was right there by my side. And, I played football at Bethune-Cookman. I was a former walk-on, so I walked on to the university and actually earned my degree and earned my scholarship, through the walk-on phase. So I always took athletics serious, but I also took my academics serious. So that was always like the niche for me. I already knew, after football, you have to have a life. You have to have something to fall back on, especially when I had my kids. I always wanted to make sure that I had something outside of football that would be an alternative to what I was doing. So that's when I just started pursuing more. I was an academic All-American. I made all conference for my, not only athletics, but the grades as well. So it's just something that carried over after I played football in college. And I took it into, the real world. And then I enrolled to get my master's again at Bethune-Cookman. So I have 2 degrees from them. I have my bachelor's and then I have my master's in criminal justice administration. And then right after that, I also enrolled in Pepperdine School of Law. And I got my master's in dispute resolution from that institution as well.
Which is incredible. So you're a coast-to-coast graduate. So that's pretty cool too. So, but obviously you having a thing for the beach.
Oh yeah.
Pepperdine's got that amazing view of the ocean, and then Bethune-Cookman. You got to drive a couple miles, and then you got the ocean. And then at Liberty, I'm assuming you're doing it. It was Wayne's had a little glare this morning. That's why I had the sunglasses on. But Liberty, I'm assuming you're doing it online. Which
Yeah,
is,
Liberty is online.
have you been to the campus?
No, I haven't visited campus yet.
It's gorgeous. They have a skiing, one of those artificial skiing mountains, which in college we had running water and air conditioning sometimes. Now these students have all kinds of accommodations, but Liberty's got a great football program. I bet you if they ever see you, they're going to go, gee, we wish we would have had him.
Yeah, I've been following their football quite a bit, and I think they had a draft pick last year, the quarterback, Malik Willis. The quarterback went on, I think, got drafted by the Titans.
Right, which is pretty impressive for a little school that a great pastor started so many years ago, but it's really grown into be an incredible school, academically and athletically. So how do you balance all this stuff? I mean, I feel like I'm on one of the women of the View, but honestly, you have so much going on, and you run a business full time. Although do you find that it's easy for you to help people with disputes when you walk in the room? Is there?
Yeah, pretty much. With balance, trying to balance everything out, I'm big on time management. So anything that I said that I want to do, I make time for it. You got 24 hours in a day. I believe that if it's something that I want to accomplish, I want to get done, I just start, scheduling it out, balancing everything out, make sure that everything's accommodated for. So I'm not going to get it all done in one day. So if I have a week, or if it's a project that may take 2 to 3 weeks, just, kind of spend like maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day just planning it or getting something done or working on it. And then, as kids are in school from 8 a.m. to 3 to 4 in the evening. So during that time, I'm trying to get everything done. That way, when they do get home, it's family time. We got homework or whatever it is. So it's a balance of just time management, scheduling, and just, making sure I accommodate each accordingly. And especially with school, by it being an online program, all of the asynchronous material, maybe just, say, okay, maybe Wednesday, I'm typing paper. By Friday, I want it done. And then Sunday night is due at 11:59. So if it's that schedule, then I try to stick to it. But in between time, trying to run business. And then not only that, I have my wife that helps us out as well. So it's really a team effort for both of us to get everything done.
How often do you hit the gym? Well, let me throw that one in. How often do you hit the gym? Because I mean, you can't really visualize how big this guy is on the screen.
Yeah. So when it comes to the gym, I'm an early bird. I can get up at 5 in the morning. It depends on what my day looks like. So if I know I got something to do during the daytime and I can't get to the gym during those business hours, I'll get up from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. and get an hour in. But if it's like a day where, I have a little flexibility, I'll work out maybe between 12 and 2 p.m. or in the evening time between 3 and 5. So I kind of find time to get it in.
What was the 1,000-pound club?
So in high school, we had the 1,000-pound club. It was, you had to have a total of 1,000 pounds in the 3 core lifts. It was power clean, squats, and bench press. So each of those numbers had to tally 1,000 pounds. So it was a fleet for all of us to say, you left high school lifting over 1,000 pounds in those core lifts. So it was only 3 of us, but we all.
I was going to ask you how many people were in the club. I'm pretty sure in high school, I lifted a total of 1,000 pounds in my 4 years. I can't imagine. That's just, Ken Ryder, who's I think he was on the top 5 power lifters in the world. He's coming on the show in the next month or so. And he's like, it's you too. You guys are beast. But that's quite a club for high school. I'd be quite a club for at any age. So what's your biggest bench press?
The most I ever benched was 600 pounds.
I really wish my son was on this podcast, because my son's going into competitive bodybuilding next year, and Jaermal, he could really use a lot of your tips. But I love the mind-body connection. No matter how much you got going on during the day, you're finding time to get your workouts in, because we know how important it is. I do got a comment on on your background. So delve a little bit into what you think the end game might be for your criminal law, criminal justice pursuits. I have a degree in international relations and law enforcement, and I have a 2-year degree in police science. I did my college internship with U.S. Customs Office of Enforcement, and the CIA was going to be my end game. Now, I'm a contractor, so I deviated a lot from that, and you might too. But what's your end game? Is it something with the feds?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm more on the side of conflict resolution, and that's why I try to scale everything together. You know, criminal justice administration, dispute resolution, and then taking up that PhD in leadership, and kind of go back and forth, you know, throughout the nation, and just talk about leadership traits, talk about conflict resolution. I've been attending a lot of sessions, especially as of the last 2 months with this nonprofit dedication to community. And it's been a lot about relations with the community and the police. You know, we live in an era now where on social media, so much dialogue is being put out, whether it's positive or negative, that's causing a lot of tension. So, you know, just to be able to go to sit down with different police departments. We sat down with Broward County Sheriff, City of Miami Police, and just different sectors, City of Fort Lauderdale, and just talk about conflict resolution, talk about the different problems that not only even in the community and police, it could be police to police, it could be police to stakeholder, whoever it is, but just talk about a lot of the issues and try to bring them into like a mediation setting, talking confidential, you know, no outsiders, no court involved, no litigation, no nothing. Just try to sit down and formulate plans where people can coexist with one another, coexist with law enforcement. And that's my end game as well. I want to be able to sit down with different municipalities, different local police departments, and have them talk to one another, have them talk with, you know, community members about issues. Because a lot of times the perception is never what it really is.
Yep.
There are, you know, people out there that do bad. There are cops that, you know, are corrupt. But at the same time, let's not foster everybody into one category. Try to work out where everyone can talk, even from a restorative justice, you know, practice and a perspective of reuniting victims and families, you know, having that conversation one-on-one, that dialogue. And I think that's what happens a lot of times, the misinformation. That's something I talk about all the time, misinformation, you know, no communication, and then people start putting together things that look like something that may not actually be the problem. But in the end, I just want to be able to be a part of something and go around and talk about conflict resolution, talk about solving problems, solving issues. You know, so people don't feel like there's a bias as well. A lot of times it's, oh, you know, internal affairs is working on our case and somebody in there doesn't like me. Okay, well, we got mediators come in, got people come in and talk, and you can have that neutral perspective and people be able to feel more comfortable talking and resolving more issues. So I definitely want to be more of a problem solver when it comes to criminal justice, as opposed to, you know, just being in the field. I really want to make that impact.
How much has social media completely exacerbated the problems that, you know, we all have to deal with you being on the front lines, having to deal with? Now, I'm thinking that obviously these issues would still be with us, but they're so amplified every day. We get stuff from literally around the world of something that happened to someone on an airplane, something that happened to someone on the streets. I mean, how much harder is this making your job?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now, especially in conflict resolution, especially in the social media era, sometimes we only get in snippets. We only get 5 seconds of what really happened, or 10 seconds of what really happened, you know, what really happened. You know, in conflict resolution, we talk about being transformative. Let's find out what the problem really was. Let's find out what the, you know, the history behind it was, because a lot of times something gets amplified from a small situation, and then when it hits the screen, look at your phone, or turn on TikTok, or turn on Instagram, is maybe just 10 or 5 seconds of what really happened. And, you know, social media era now, it just makes it that much harder because people aren't reading no more. People aren't going to the library no more. They're not digging in depths of scholarly references and talking to people who are actually in the field. It's now, if you Google it, it automatically just makes it correct. somebody just put it in the status on Facebook, it automatically makes it correct. So now it's just time to start digging into more of the details of what really happened to, resolve these conflicts.
Well, let's go with something that just happened a couple of days ago, and it's all over social media. So, of course, I know about it. Over in Stockton, California, some guy he had a trash can, and he's filling it up with a couple $1,000 worth of cigarettes. He had robbed the place twice before. And so I don't know if they were store owners or management or employees or who the two were, but I was very grateful. They just took a stick and just started beating the dog out of this guy and held him down until the police got there. Then I hear on the news yesterday, they're charging a guy with attempted theft, and they're charging the guys with, bodily harm. I mean, I love living in Florida because, I think people aren't going to come on my property because they know that there's ramifications if you do something wrong on my property. When you've got states like California that are charging people that are, you've got a right to have a business and not have people come and steal from it. And the police always can't be there. I'm not saying that you should just automatically, somebody walks in and they, look at somebody wrong, that gives the owner the right to start beating them with a stick, but it's all on video. This guy's about to steal a lot of money, and that could be their profit margin for the month that this guy's about to try to walk off with. And the boldness of theft, especially in California, is just shocking. I mean, am I reading it correctly? Or, should those guys be charged? Because I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I do know that there's a big problem right now with people in hiring security. A lot of times police don't want to get involved in, civilian issues. A lot of times with a store or a restaurant, hotel, a lot of these places need to start having security, start having armed security, start having people out there that can watch, because a lot of times some of the people that are committing the crimes are noticing that there's no guardian, okay? There's no camera there, or even if there is a camera's not going to stop a person from coming to the store and stealing, or a person from breaking into something. So a lot of times having that security, having that level, at least a level of comfort, a level of protection until the police get there, it would, make things much better. We see that with the schools and all. Like a lot of times, like they have the resource officer, they have, someone sitting in the car, but it's not the same as having that active patrol guard, 24/7, walking around, checking fire extinguishers, checking for break-ins, all that stuff matters. So
but it doesn't say much for our society. I'm a big history buff, and our founders, when they founded this country so many years ago, they said that we are one nation under God, and their theory was, and I thought it was a great theory, that the more that people were beholden to God and the 10 Commandments and living right amongst their brothers and sisters, then there would be less crime and bad behavior. And now all these years later, it's like, wow, I think people need God more than ever, because wow, if people would just be accountable more than just, hoping that I don't get caught, that's a weird type of accountability. We need to be more accountable. And even if you want to be a non-believer, at least be accountable to your fellow man, and just behave. And it's shocking. Somebody thinks that they have the right to walk in and steal people's stuff. And, think about it. You're saying hire security, which is a great idea, but some businesses, they don't have the profit margin to do that. And they shouldn't have to. And now with people like you doing conflict resolution and trying to build it on a national scale, then maybe we can get there by several routes. But I just can't. It just shocks me. I remember my dad yelled at me once because I took a grape when I was a little kid at the grocery store, and he said, "Son, that's not your grape. You don't have any right to do that." And I hadn't thought of it, but I was a child. I wasn't a grown man walking into a store and stealing stuff. It's frustrating.
No, and it's definitely from a perspective, like you said, of accountability. And a lot of times, because I did substitute teaching as well in Broward County, and sometimes some of the kids that you get a privilege to, be around for 8 hours of your day or even a whole week, a lot of times it comes down to what you're being taught at home. morals, principles, respect. You could tell the ones who come from a home where they know not to talk back to you or challenge you in any manner. But then you got the kids that will challenge you in a manner. They will talk back and they will try to get in your face. But it just comes from, it really starts at home.
Sure.
It really starts at home.
So Jaermal, you're going to imagine you get a call today. Kelly brought up something that's on social media that had happened. And so there's also another incident that happened that's captured, a lot of attention around the nation, where you had an African-American dock worker that was attacked by some white folks that had jumped off a boat because evidently the folks that were on the boat didn't like the direction or what the guy was telling them to do, and they attacked him. So you get a call from the police chief or a mayor and say, Jaermal, we want you to come in and do some conflict resolution and figure out what happened. So tell us what that would look like.
Yeah, so if anytime I was able to get a police chief or a sheriff to ask me to come in and talk about a specific subject, especially something like that, that's one of those subjects where you will have to do a lot of intake. And like I said earlier in the show, being a lot of transformative, like finding out what the issue was. Okay, we already seen what happened on video. We seen the guy approaching him or whatnot. But if that over escalated and it turned into a brawl, I'm pretty sure after the brawl, there's a lot of thought process going in from both parties on how it could be different or something that was said or something that was misinterpreted, whatever it was.
Was there alcohol involved?
Yeah. So when you bring those parties together, I'm pretty sure there's going to be different stories from everybody. How they perceive. And a lot of times, once those stories get together, once everybody get together and start hearing those stories, sometimes, like I tell them all the time in mediation, sometimes come in here with an ear to listen to what you weren't expecting. When you come into here with an ear of what you weren't expecting to hear, you'll hear a lot because it'll change your thought process just like that. Like, wow, maybe I did overreact. Maybe I should have said this. Maybe I should have done that. So it's just trying to, formulate the stories, be a little transformative, get a little history behind it. And a lot of times they're going to walk away and they're going to be, at peace. Like I tell them in mediation, if you come to a resolution or you don't, it's still a resolution because you had to agree to disagree or agree to, disagree, however. So it's between them. But if, I got that call and they want to mediate something like that and they want to bring the parties together, it would be a lot of different stories because there was a lot of parties involved. So different angles, different camera angles, who said what, who did what. So it just depends on, and then the willingness too. Remember, it's voluntary. So if somebody want to get out there and they want to talk about what happened, it's all confidential.
Okay. Now let's look at the conflict that you have on the football field because it's a completely different type of conflict resolution. It's whoever gets the most points and doing it, now you do have rules to follow, but I mean, it's gladiators sport. It's so, I mean, is that a release for you or I mean, cause it's gotta be different. Cause I mean, there's sometimes you probably want to go over the table and just sit there and tell one of the ones that's in the resolution process that's maybe being a little bit, unaccepted. And they're not accepting the resolution that would work and compromising or doing the right thing. But on the football field, man, it's just, strongest, most talented team wins.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been playing football since I was 9 years old. Started off playing at Bunch Park, the Cowboys. So started off at 9, then went on to high school, played at Hartley Senior High School. Played there for 4 years, then went on to Bethune-Cookman. But, my post-college career, I did go on to play professionally in the Arena Football League. Played for quite a few teams, Rio Grande Valley Soul out in Texas, the Rio Grande Valley Magic out in Texas. Played briefly with the Orlando Predators, Sioux Falls Storm, the Columbus Lions. Then most recently played with the South Florida Thunder here, a travel team played with down here Fort Lauderdale, Margate area. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey for me. I also play on a travel football team, Team America, we travel the globe. So we play in different countries. We play in Canada. We play in Costa Rica, Mexico, play down in Italy, just all over the globe.
How cool is
It's
that?
definitely, it's definitely something different. It's definitely a release. We played in the NFL stadium the last 3 games. We played at Cowboy Stadium twice, and then we played
Nice.
over at the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. We played Mexico out there. So it's just been a blessing to be a part of that team and be a part of traveling, seeing the world from a different perspective. In America, football is like our #1 sport, whereas you go to these other countries, it might be soccer or cricket or baseball or something. So to go on another soil and play American football is definitely, a blessing, and definitely a moment to cherish when you're on another field in another country. Is definitely different.
Do you think there'll ever be another team like the 1899 team from Tennessee? I think they were the Sewanee football team.
Probably not.
Are you familiar with them?
I'm not even familiar.
What the hell
with
are you
guy.
talking about, dude?
Hey, listen, if you want to hear a great story about football, you look it up. 1899. And these guys were in Tennessee and they went to Texas and back playing. I can't remember how many games they played in a week, but it was like 5 games in 6 days or something. And it's just an incredible story of David and Goliath, these guys going out there and just kicking butt and taking names. So I think as a true sports historian, I enjoy this story. And I think you guys and our listeners would also enjoy it. So look it up. I like me bringing that to the table.
You just gave me some homework.
Yeah, right.
I bet you Dawn, the paving lady, doesn't know that story, huh?
She won't even come on, so whatever, man.
Yeah, because some people are chicken, but not Jaermal. There's nothing that scares this guy. But a little quick thing about problems that are happening, and here where I fell in for it. One of my neighbors, nice 65-year-old little woman, right? She's on her scooter, and she starts to drop it right in the front of my place, right? And so I whip out my phone and I videotape it, and then I went and helped her and got it back up and saved her. I can't believe was that terrible?
Yeah, you're terrible, man.
And she's reminded me a couple of times. You can hear her telling to my neighbors, and he videotaped it before he helped me. but it's become what we do.
Yeah, people with no morals, I guess, right? I mean, I don't know about you, but I think Jaermal and I would probably be 2 guys that would attend to our immediate needs and not grab our phones. So no, Kelly, you are the exception. We are the rule. Jaermal and I are good guys.
Before it dropped the second time, because I think she actually started to scoop it up. I got it and that's when I started videotaping. And then I walked over, and it was nothing for me to lift it up. I felt like Jaermal, for a moment, where I was able to just move it right up. But I was videotaping her dropping this thing. It was good video. I mean,
yeah, not cool, dude. It's good video for a 10-year-old.
And here's my hope.
No. You're not getting out of this one.
Here's my hope is that now that you do have cameras on everything, that people will behave better because they're being videotaped. And I'm shocked when they don't.
So someone's going to videotape the videotaper like you did right there. Again, guys like Jaermal and I, we're pretty moral centered. We wouldn't even think about it. I like the way you like Jaermal and I, like.
You're taking credit for all this great things that this man has done in his life. You're like, well, Jaermal and I.
Well, I'm not going to follow your lead. I think his moral center is a little bit one that I'd rather follow than yours. Now that I know that shameful episode of your life. Dude.
Listen, I was trying to just be honest here. I can't believe this, but okay. So are you going to play football again next year, or is that something that's winding down? Or are you still just going to keep pounding it because you look like you could walk on the NFL?
Yeah. So like I said, continue. So with East Preps, we play almost year round. So the only thing that really slowed us down was COVID. So it kind of stopped some of our traveling, but. Definitely, they have games coming up in Toronto later this month, and then some other locations we always get released like towards the end of the year. but we always call it the Passport Club. So as soon as they let us know our location, we ready to go.
Yeah, Passport Club. I like that.
If you guys need like a flanker or a punter, I got my passport. Oh my goodness. Too much fun. And so are there any of the boys playing football?
Yeah, so they haven't played this year, but all of them play. My oldest, he's a wide receiver. And then the twins, they're polar opposite. One is a defensive dog, the other one is, on offense. One of the twins, he plays linebacker, and the other one plays wide receiver. So like the older one. Like I want to definitely get them involved. And I definitely want to get my younger one involved. He'll be 5 in September, so
he's adorable. There's some good looking young men, but the 5-year-old man, he's just adorable. He's just and he's got you wrapped.
Yeah, he's not scared of none of them. So
right, we'll probably be watching him in the NFL one day. I mean, he just talk about big brothers and daddy to show him the way. And we all know that the youngest kid usually turns out to be the best one.
Yeah, definitely. He got a long line in front of him, so he gets a chance to, be with them and challenge them to see different things. Last year when we went to Cowboy Stadium, he was like, "We're playing at the Super Bowl. This is the Super Bowl." He already know what time it is.
I love it. I love it. Well, we better wind up. We're over time again. I know everyone's got a busy schedule. I'm heading to Miami. So for the people listening out of town, I think we have some people from Romania listening to the show today. So hey, out there in Romania. And,
Romanian.
And it's amazing. We're getting people from all over the place that reach out, and it's fun. And I'm just so grateful that you cleared out some time in your unbelievable crazy schedule to join us. I do have one more question. Do you ever watch TV?
Yeah, we watch TV.
I was wondering if you had time.
maybe about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, you get a chance to, watch some movies or something, watch Netflix or Tubi or something. So
do you ever watch the cop show on Friday and Saturday nights where for 3 hours they're following people around in 8 cities throughout this wonderful country? Dude, you got to tune in. It used to be called Live PD, and then they changed the name and came back on the air. It's on the Dish Network, one of our sponsors. It's channel 299, but it's wild. And I mean, it's you see people getting shot. I mean, whatever is happening, they're on camera, and I think it would be interesting for you to see it. I'd love to see your take on it. Matter of fact, watch it. Someone will get you back on the show, and we'll do 25 minutes of talking about some of the things that happened on that show. But all kidding aside, it would be fascinating to hear your perspective of what a layperson is watching on this thing. But I tell you what, I've always been respectful when I get pulled over. I used to have a lead foot. I don't anymore. I behave. But I've always learned. I'm 100% respect for the police because they got cuffs and guns. And I'm not going to talk about my guns, but obviously they pulled me over. There's a reason why they pulled me over. They're not just going, "Hey, let's pull over that car." There's always a reason, and how the people handle it. And that police officers do a great job of showing the country how they handle conflict real time in the situation. But I think stuff like that they have cameras on their chest now, I think makes both sides perform better. So I think that was one thing that they've implemented in this country that I think is great. But
definitely. And what you said the name of the show is?
It used to be called Live PD. So if you Google or DuckDuckGo Live PD, you'll find. But it's channel 299 on the Dish Network. But it's a big show. I can't believe you didn't know about it. I'm talking to the guys at Lerch now. you might change your dissertation because of it. No, just kidding. Wayne, you're up north today. All the cool guys down south.
I'm in Minneapolis, getting rid of the place up here, and then we'll be having the one place in Florida full time. So I can't wait to get back, man. I miss my beach,
New Smyrna Beach.
2007, I was in Minneapolis. I was going to a junior college out there in Worthington, Minnesota. So we used to be back and forth between the Twin Cities. So I was there for only 6 months, and it was the coldest 6 months of my life.
Yeah, yeah. My wife has some in-laws in Worthington, and I've lived in the Midwest my whole life. So you spent 6 months. You were lucky. I've spent a lot of time, and I don't miss it. So I just can't wait to get back to Florida. So
I
appreciate you
spent
coming on,
six-
Jaermal.
I spent
You're welcome.
6 days there after the Super Bowl. How many years ago that was? That was the
92.
coldest 6 days of my life. What year?
Oh yeah. Well, wait. There
Year-
was one in '92, and then when they built
Oh.
the new one, U.S. Bank, that was I think Philadelphia played there. So that was
like 6 years
what in
ago.
17. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Gee, I'm like, it wasn't that long ago. I'm still cold from it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Right, Jamal. Hey, great having you. Looking forward to having you back on, Wayne. Get back home, and everybody have a great
Yeah.
week. Ciao.
Appreciate you.